Hey everybody, what's happening? It's freezing rain going on, very cold. Well, not super cold, but cold to a degree. Anyway, I just want to talk about paternity fraud and the damage that it has on society in general. Even coming from Jamaica, where people who get paternity fraud, it's called a jacket. And you can look it up to people. The term for paternity fraud in Jamaica is known as jacket, where a woman gives a child to a man that does not belong to him, a child that is not his by DNA, where it is another man's child. It's called a jacket. Alright? So anytime you hear a Jamaican say, yo, that child that you have is a jacket, it means basically that child is not your child. You understand that the mother has cheated on you, slept with several different guys, or even if it's just one guy, she slept with someone else and that child is not your child. In any case, listen, paternity fraud is a big issue around the world. It's not just America, it's not just Jamaica, it's all around the world. And this is something that I think, and in my honest opinion, paternity fraud needs to be criminalized. Why does it need to be criminalized? To teach women that they shouldn't be doing this thing. When you don't criminalize certain behaviors like this, like paternity fraud, then it just continues to happen. And to me, paternity fraud is robbery. And why do I call it robbery? It's robbery because basically it's stealing from men the resources that they have worked very hard to earn. And these resources do not belong to a bastard child. It belongs to the child of the seed of that man who has worked extremely hard to gain those resources. And I don't see how people don't understand that. And to do that, like paternity fraud, is so horrible. And the fact that we can't get any justice for these men who have been victims of paternity fraud is a travesty in society. Right? We're not going to talk about how the system is broken or anything like that. It's not that the system is broken, it's that the system is encouraging very poor and immoral behavior that leads to them collecting money in court. Now people, we have to sit down and be honest. But when a government encourages women to do stuff like this because they want to collect money through the court system, you understand what I'm saying? They want to collect money through a court system to fill their pockets. Then you have to look at the government itself. That's what needs to change. It's not just the laws. You understand? It's the people who are enacting these laws and establishing these laws. These are the people that need to change. These are the people that you need to get out of your government. You understand? Until paternity fraud becomes criminalized, women will continue to do this immoral act. And in my honest opinion, any woman who does that is the scum of the earth. She's the most disgusting and grossest thing to me. Any woman who lies to a man and gives him a child that doesn't belong to him is the scum of the earth. Now, back in Jamaica, there have been several women who have been the victim of murder. One famous topic that I spoke about some time ago is a guy who murdered a woman because about 6 of the 7 children that they had together did not belong to that man. And people didn't agree with me when I said that she got what she deserved. Now, I'm not going to get up and apologize for what I said. I will never apologize for that. Right? Because you reap what you sow. And the Bible is very clear about that. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that also shall he reap. For he that soweth the flesh shall reap destruction. And he that soweth the spirit shall reap life everlasting. You understand what I'm saying? So, when a woman gets up and decides that she is going to cheat on you, and she decides that she's going to have a child by a next man, and she gets up and she decides that she's going to give that child to you to provide for. That woman is disgusting, and she has earned her death, because the anger that has welled up deep within that man after finding out that all the hard work that he's been doing to provide for that family of kids, you understand, the diapers, the food, the shelter, the electricity bills, all those things, right? And then she probably turn around and call the man worthless from time to time, have arguments with the man and tell him how horrible he is as a father and as a husband, right? Putting up with all of that and then still going out there to provide for that family. When that man gets that news that 6 of the 7 kids do not belong to him and decides to end her life, whether he is wrong or not for doing that, she has earned that end. She has worked for that end. She has sowed into that end, and what she is doing is reaping that end. That is the end result of her deception, her lying, and her games. You understand? You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me. But the Bible is clear about that. When a thief gets caught and he gets beaten, that is the end result of him stealing stuff, constantly stealing. He has earned the beating. He deserves the beating because he's not supposed to be stealing. Same thing with a woman that does that. She has earned her death. She deserves her death because guess what? She's been lying and she's been robbing the man of resources. So she in herself has been stealing from the man as well. You understand? Now people are going to argue that he shouldn't kill the woman and whatever it is, but what other system is there to get back everything that that man has worked so hard to put into those children and even in that woman? What system is out there that can give justice to that man? Right? What system that is out there that can give back the money and the years back to that man? The years of service he's given to those kids. The years of resources he's given to those kids. The materials. The school things. As I said before, it's so many things that you have to think about that man has done for that child. You understand what I'm saying? You reap what you sow in society. Like, I don't know why we keep trying to play down certain behaviors, especially when it comes to women. We tend to like to feel sorry for them when they've done wrong and they cause their own deaths. This woman caused her own death. She caused her death. She lived in deception and she reaped the rewards of that deception. Do you understand what I am saying, people? Right? Paternity fraud needs to be criminalized. It needs to be criminalized. The thing about it is that in the Bible it says so many times that let every man have his own wife. Let every man have his own things. So if it says let every man have his own wife and his own things, doesn't his own wife come with his own children? So why is it that children should basically be going, the resources of what you're working for should be going to other children that don't belong to you? And that's the problem also with socialism that these people are trying to push. You must work hard for everything that you have earned, and then that must be shared with people who don't work hard to earn that. I don't believe in that. Neither does God. And anybody that pushes socialism as something of God has never read the Bible, or they're choosing and refusing verses to push their agenda and narrative of that. You understand what I'm saying? There's nowhere in the Bible that would ever condone socialism. Jesus never ever pushed socialism. When he even spoke about giving to the poor, it was as a choice. God is always about choice. God is always about giving you choices to choose. You should choose to give to the poor. You understand what I'm saying? You should choose to give to the poor. You should choose to help the poor. Right? Remember when Judas said to Jesus, when the woman was using the perfume to wipe his feet, and he said, Lord, why wasn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor? Jesus said to Judas, leave her alone. What she does is to prepare me for my burial. The poor you have with you always. So Jesus never said not to give to the poor enough. He basically only said that the poor you have with you always. So you can always choose to go and help them. But me, you don't have with you always. You understand what I'm saying? So Jesus is basically letting you know that it is a choice to help the poor. God is always giving you choices. When he puts people in your presence to help or not to help, it is your choice. God is about choice. God even told you that choose life that you may have it. You understand? He tells you that there's two paths. Two paths. Light and dark. Choose the light. You understand? If you read the Bible, you are always presented with choice. At no point in time does God say that you don't have a choice. This is what you have to do. Right? Anyway, back to paternity fraud. My thing about paternity fraud is that it's a very disgusting thing that a woman think that it's okay for her to give a child that does not belong to a man, to that man, and for him to take care of her and that child. And then when you find out that that child does not belong to you, the government still forces you, just because you have the name on the birth certificate, still forces you to take care of that child until that child is 17. You understand? Until that child is 17. And you have to take care of the woman too. I think that's something very disgusting. And any government that pushes that, that's really telling about the government. We need to realize that the government isn't always for the people. The government is for the government, because when they have the money to always get the best lawyers, and they also have the push of the system that they are involved in on their side. So even if paternity fraud happens to them, they can get out of it, because guess what? These politicians, they're the government itself. You know what I mean? So, they can get out of it. In any case, here's what I'm saying before I close off this topic. There are several things I think people should be doing with their politicians. They should be putting up legislations to these politicians, saying that, listen, if you can't get this legislation passed, I'm not voting for you. You understand? One of the things that I talked about is this false rape accusation, where there is no consequences for the people who falsely accuse any man of rape, and that any woman out of the darkness can get up and accuse men of rape. Like, nobody cared about the average Joe. And the only reason why people are starting to care about false rape accusations is because now celebrities are under heat and fire from these false rape accusations. And now this is when people are starting to care. No, the average man, nobody cared about the average man. But the so-called important men, the so-called rich men, now that they are under fire, that's when they started to care. You understand what I'm saying? Men that go under paternity fraud is mostly average men. And then the only way these people are going to start caring is when it's celebrities going through it, like constant, like not just one or two celebrities. It's like it has to be like the most 10 famous celebrities. And then when they start to like go under this type of heat and this type of fire, then and only then will these celebrities start pushing for legislations to be passed to criminalize paternity fraud by women. Now, what are the answers for paternity fraud? Well, I honestly don't know. Here is my suggestion though. that when a woman commits paternity fraud, I don't think she should go to prison. However, I think she should be indebted for a certain amount of money for a certain amount of years. And if she's done it in the marriage, she should be absolved of everything for when the marriage splits. So if the husband decides that, yo, the marriage is over, she shouldn't get anything. 50 of nothing. 50-50 of nothing. Because she basically already got resources out of the man through deception. So she must either turn around and pay back that man for everything that she has robbed from him in terms of materials and resources for that child, or she must just walk away from the marriage with that bastard child, or whoever it is that child belongs to, and go and make a family with the man who she basically had the child for. And the husband gets to keep his house, his bank account, his car. The woman shouldn't have any right to that, especially when paternity fraud is committed. You understand what I'm saying? Like, leave the message that it's not going to be tolerated. Leave the message that it's not going to be tolerated and back it up. Like, go after these women. Make sure that they pay their dues. Like, if a woman is caught and she gets the judgment of paying, say, $1 million, the government should make sure that all her payments are up to date. Now, it doesn't matter the plan of what she and the government work out. Like, she gonna pay like $2,000 a month, $1,000 a month for the rest of her life to pay back the man. But that woman needs to feel the consequence of that, because guess what? If women don't have consequences, or if anybody don't have consequences, they're gonna get up and do it again. And that's what we really need to sit down and think about, is consequences for these types of behaviors. It's not okay that a woman gets to lie and rob a man of resources and give it to seeds that don't belong to him. Those are a man's seed. The instinct of a man is to take care of his own seed and his own love, not another man's seed. Why do you think it's so much of a big angry issue that men don't want to date single mothers? Because they don't want to be taking care of another man's seed, another man's child. They want to be taking care of their own child. They want to be taking care of their own seed. And the more we understand this, the better off as a society we'll be. Especially women who want to date single men. Listen, single mothers, you'll have a better understanding of men if you understand why he doesn't want to take care of you and your bastard children. I know we can talk about women who are basically widows, and that's different. If a woman is a widow, that means her husband is dead. That guy don't have to deal with the husband that's dead. You understand? He just has to deal with the child and the woman. And, you know, that can be a topic for next time. But my thing is this: paternity fraud needs to be looked at very, very, very closely in society. We need to see what's going on with paternity fraud, and we need to criminalize it. It is not okay. It shouldn't be an okay thing to rob a man of resources through deception. And yes, I watched this video where it talks about some councilmen and councilwoman was talking about it's okay because people lie all the time. So okay, so people lie all the time, so we should be okay with people lying all the time just to steal. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? These people are okay with lying to steal from other people. You need to ask more questions of your government. Anyway, people, take care. Enough love and respect.